2001, the year we were supposed to shine our light across the stars, to learn the truth of the monoliths, to seek out new life and new civilizations. Instead, we built sport track headlight assemblies that shine a light a total of 10 feet at the power of one candle apiece. It's time for a change. But throwing in new LED bulbs or HID assemblies is boring. The correct answer is to add more lights to the front of the sport track. The math is simple. More lights equals more fun. As some of you astute viewers may have noticed, the sport track already has an LED light bar mounted to the roof. While this is a fun and sometimes obnoxious thing, it is not suited for or technically legal to use on the public roads. The solution is to use these two driving lights I'm planning to mount to the front of the bull bar. The final look will be decent and very functional. I do have to admit that I am not the best at estimating size when ordering online. Apparently, I think 6 inches is relatively small. Putting 2 of these lights on the bull bar will be a very tight fit. The switch I'm using is for one of the factory fog light switches. I found this bezel with 2 holes in a scrapped Explorer Sport, where the second hole was used for the rear defroster switch. Since my sport track does not have a rear defroster, a second fog light switch fills the hole nicely. Currently, I have the top fog light switch wired to the light bar. These fog light switches have an indicator light built into them for when they are activated. To get that same feature working for the new driving lights, we need to look at the wiring diagram. The light wiring harness I am using is set up for controlling the power coming into the relay control circuit. The Ford factory fog light switches are set up a bit different, as they are designed to control the grounding of the relay of the control circuit. All we need to do is a little bit of a wire switcheroo. There are 4 wires that go into the factory switch. The light blue with the black striped wire is for the relay control circuit ground. The black with the red striped wire is for the backlighting of the switch, but in this case, some fog light switches are not backlit, so this wire can be left loose. The tan with the orange striped wire is for the 12-volt power coming in from the load side of the relay, which is where our lights are, which in turn then activates the LED inside the switch to show that it is on. The black wire is for the vehicle ground. Here's how it will all work. When the switch is closed, it completes the ground circuit for the control side of the relay. This energizes a coil inside the relay and closes the load side of the relay. When the load side closes, the light turns on. Power is then sent back along the switch LED light wire, which then grounds through the switch and activates the LED indicator. There are a few tools you will need: a bit driver for maximum screw removal speed, a ratchet and socket for the grounding point, side cutters, needle nose pliers, Phillips head screwdriver, wire strippers, your preferred crimpers, a lighter or a heat gun, and a multimeter. Start by cutting the switch wires from the relay. Please note, if the wires are cut by the relay, 2 separate wires will need to be run into the cabin. I did this because I am planning on using this switch and wiring for another project, so I will be running a length of speaker wire into the cabin in its place. Next, cut the large ground wires off of the relay. This will separate the load side and give us our ground control of the relay. Take these 2 ground wires and butt connector them together, giving the lights a direct ground to the chassis. Find a solid bolt to attach the ground terminal to. The remaining ground wire in the relay is sent inside the cabin to the fog light switch. Butt connector the red and yellow wires near the relay, or in the cabin if you ran the stock switch wiring. This will give us power to our relay control circuit. The final wiring step for the relay is to attach our switch LED light to the load side of the relay. Because this part is going into the engine bay, I would not recommend using the easy splices found at the auto parts stores. These are known to cut the wires and have no protection from the elements. Use a waterproof butt connector or heat shrink to protect the connection. Run the load wires to wherever the lights are mounted and wire them up. Run the control wires into the cabin through any grommet on the firewall and zip tie them up out of the way, preferably onto another wiring harness. Take the 2 7mm screws out of the bottom side of the radio bezel. Gently pull the bezel out of the dash. there are 2 Phillips head screws that hold the switches into the bezel. I am going to splice my new switch into the ground and backlight into the existing switch for the light bar and clean up some of my wiring in the process. Feed the control wires up and out of the bezel hole in the dash and butt connector them to the new switch. Make sure the correct control wire is going to the correct switch wire. Once all the wiring is hooked up, it is a good idea to check and see if everything works properly. Finally, find a good place to tuck the wiring away from danger. Now you can go out and enjoy the night with a clean factory dash, impressing your friends with your wiring skills. Have fun! Rooster out.